Most men think attraction is built with words. But what if the moments she never forgets are the ones where you said nothing at all, only how you touched her? Touch has a unique way of revealing emotional intelligence faster than words ever could, because it bypasses performance and goes straight to feeling. Words can be rehearsed, filtered, and adjusted to create a certain impression. But touch is immediate. It reflects awareness, intention, and emotional control in real time. A mature woman doesn't just listen to what you say, she reads how you express yourself without speaking, and touch becomes one of the clearest signals of that. When a man understands timing, pressure, and context, it shows he's emotionally tuned in. A light, well-placed touch on her arm during a meaningful moment tells her you're present and engaged, not distracted, not trying to impress, but actually connected. That level of awareness signals emotional depth because it means you're paying attention not just to her words, but to her energy, her mood, and the moment you're sharing. On the other hand, careless or excessive touch reveals the opposite. It can signal nervousness, neediness, or a lack of self-control. Emotional intelligence isn't about doing more. It's about knowing when less is more. A man who can hold back, who doesn't feel the need to constantly reach out, creates a sense of calm confidence. And that calmness is felt instantly. Touch also communicates intention. A grounded, steady touch feels different from a rushed or uncertain one. One says, "I'm comfortable in this moment." The other says, "I'm seeking something." A mature woman can feel that difference immediately, even if she can't explain it logically. Ultimately, emotionally intelligent touch isn't about technique. It's about presence. It's about being aware enough to understand what the moment calls for and confident enough not to force anything beyond that. Timing matters more than intensity because emotion is not created by force. It's created by alignment with the moment. You can apply the perfect touch with the right level of confidence, but if it comes at the wrong time, it loses its meaning. In fact, it can even create discomfort. A mature woman doesn't respond to how strong or bold a gesture is. She responds to whether it feels natural within the flow of the interaction. Emotional intelligence shows up in your ability to read the moment before acting. When she's laughing, relaxed, and open, even the lightest touch can feel electric. But if she's distracted, serious, or not yet comfortable, even a stronger, more deliberate touch can feel out of place. The difference isn't the action, it's the timing behind it. Great timing creates a sense of effortlessness. It feels as if things are happening naturally, without pressure or intention being forced. When you touch her at the right moment, during a shared laugh, a pause in conversation, or a subtle moment of connection, it amplifies what's already there. It doesn't try to create something from nothing. It enhances what already exists. Intensity, on the other hand, often comes from trying too hard. It can feel like you're pushing for a reaction rather than allowing one to develop. And that pressure is something a mature woman can sense immediately. It breaks the emotional rhythm instead of flowing with it. There's also power in restraint. Waiting for the right moment shows control, patience, and awareness. It tells her you're not acting out of impulse, but out of understanding. And that understanding builds trust. In the end, it's not about how strong the gesture is. It's about whether it fits the moment so seamlessly that it feels unforgettable without ever feeling forced. Subtlety creates deeper attraction than force because it invites curiosity instead of demanding attention. When something is understated, it leaves space for interpretation. And that space is where emotional intrigue begins. A mature woman doesn't feel drawn to what is obvious and overwhelming. She feels drawn to what she can sense, but not fully predict. Subtlety gives her something to lean into, something to feel rather than analyze. Force, on the other hand, often comes across as urgency. It can feel like you're trying to make something happen instead of allowing it to unfold. That kind of energy is easy to recognize, and it tends to create resistance rather than connection. When gestures are too strong, too frequent, or too intentional, they lose their emotional depth. They stop feeling genuine and start feeling performative. Subtlety works because it reflects control. A man who doesn't need to overdo anything shows that he's comfortable with himself and with the moment. A brief touch, a slight shift closer, a calm presence without constant movement. These small actions carry more weight than exaggerated gestures ever could. They signal confidence without needing to prove it. There's also a psychological element to subtlety. When something isn't fully revealed, the mind naturally fills in the gaps. A light touch that lingers just enough, a quiet moment of closeness without explanation. These experiences stay with her because they're not overdefined. She replays them, thinks about them, and attaches meaning to them in her own way. Force tries to create attraction instantly. Subtlety allows attraction to build gradually, which makes it stronger and more lasting. It's the difference between something that's noticed and something that's felt. In the end, deeper attraction isn't about making a big impact all at once. It's about creating small, meaningful moments that stay with her long after they happen. Emotional safety amplifies physical connection because without it, even the most confident touch can feel empty or misplaced. A mature woman doesn't fully open up just because of physical presence. She opens up when she feels secure, understood, and respected in the moment. When that sense of safety is there, even the simplest touch carries more meaning, more depth, and more emotional weight. Safety isn't created through words alone. It's felt through consistency, calmness, and intention. The way you carry yourself, the way you respond to her, and the way you respect her space all contribute to whether she relaxes around you or stays guarded. If she feels rushed, pressured, or uncertain about your intentions, her body naturally resists connection. But when she feels at ease, her guard lowers. And that's when physical connection becomes natural instead of forced. A grounded, steady touch communicates that safety instantly. It's not rushed, not seeking approval, and not trying to escalate too quickly. It simply exists in the moment. That kind of touch tells her that she's not being pulled into something, she's being invited into it. And that distinction changes everything. Emotional safety also allows her to be present. When she's not overthinking or questioning your intentions, she can actually feel the moment instead of analyzing it. This is where deeper attraction forms, not in intensity, but in comfort paired with awareness. On the other hand, when safety is missing, even a well-intended touch can create distance. It can feel like pressure instead of connection. That's why emotional awareness matters more than physical technique. In the end, physical connection isn't just about contact. It's about the emotional environment surrounding it. When she feels safe, every touch becomes more powerful, more genuine, and far more memorable. Her presence transforms simple touch into unforgettable impact because it shifts the moment from something ordinary into something deeply felt. Anyone can reach out, anyone can make contact, but not everyone is truly there when they do it. A mature woman can sense the difference instantly. When you're distracted, overthinking, or focused on an outcome, your touch feels empty. But when you're fully present, even the lightest contact carries a kind of intensity that words can't replicate. Presence means your attention isn't divided. You're not thinking about what to do next or how you're being perceived. You're grounded in the moment, aware of her, aware of yourself, and comfortable in the silence between actions. That level of focus creates a calm energy, and that calmness is what allows her to relax and feel the moment more deeply. When touch comes from presence, it feels intentional without being forced. A simple gesture, like resting your hand briefly on hers or guiding her gently, feels different because there's no rush behind it. There's no hidden agenda. It's just a natural extension of the connection happening in that exact moment, and that authenticity is what makes it memorable. Presence also slows everything down. Instead of fleeting, forgettable interactions, the moment feels more vivid. She notices the details, the timing, the energy, the subtle shift in closeness. These are the things that stay with her, not because they were dramatic, but because they were real. Without presence, touch becomes mechanical. With presence, it becomes emotional. It creates a feeling rather than just an action. In the end, it's not the complexity of the gesture that leaves an impact. It's the depth of attention behind it. When you're fully there, even the simplest touch becomes something she won't forget. There's a difference between a woman being interested and a woman feeling something deep, something that lingers long after you're gone. Mature women don't respond to random gestures or rehearsed moves. They respond to meaning, to intention, to a kind of awareness that most men overlook. And often, that awareness isn't spoken, it's felt through the way you touch her. You don't build deep emotional attraction by trying harder. You build it by becoming more aware. Because a mature woman doesn't measure your value by how often you touch her. She measures it by how that touch makes her feel. The first touch isn't about contact, it's about presence. When you gently guide her through a doorway or place your hand lightly on her back, it's not the gesture itself, it's the calm certainty behind it. There's no hesitation, no need for approval. That quiet confidence tells her you're grounded, and that grounding creates a sense of safety she can feel instantly. Then there's the kind of touch that lingers just a second longer than expected. Not enough to make it obvious, but enough to make her notice. When your hand brushes hers and stays for a heartbeat longer, it creates a question in her mind, and attraction lives in that question. It's subtle, but it stays with her long after the moment passes. Another powerful moment is the reassuring touch. When she's speaking and you lightly touch her arm, not to interrupt, not to control, but to show you're fully there. That kind of touch tells her you're not just hearing her, you're feeling her. And that emotional connection is what separates surface level interest from something deeper. There's also the protective touch, the kind that happens naturally, placing your hand on her lower back as you move through a crowd. It's not about dominance, it's about awareness. It signals that you're paying attention, that you're present in the moment with her. And presence, more than anything, is what makes a woman feel valued. Then comes the playful touch. Light, effortless, almost teasing. A gentle nudge, a brief tap, something that brings out her smile without trying too hard. This creates emotional contrast. It shows her you're not rigid or predictable. You can shift between calm and playful with ease. That unpredictability keeps her engaged. There's also the grounding touch during silence, when there's nothing to say and you don't rush to fill the space. Sitting close, your hand resting lightly against hers. No pressure, no expectation, just calm energy. That kind of silence, paired with touch, creates a depth most people never experience. And finally, the most powerful touch is the one that comes from intention, not need. When you touch her without trying to get something in return, no validation, no approval, no hidden agenda, just a genuine expression of connection. That's the moment she feels it. The difference between a man who wants attention and a man who creates emotion. Because in the end, it's not about how many times you touch her. It's about whether she feels something when you do.